I'm Malcolm Ryan. I work at the University of Greenwich in the School of Education, and I lead a small teaching and learning enhancement team. Official title is Head of Talent, and I don't book bands. Now I've been a Jisc Critical Friend for the delivery programme, Cluster D. Not a very glamorous name. We never came up with an acronym. And that consisted of 4 higher education institutions, Bristol, Exeter, Hertfordshire and Westminster, which in itself was an interesting grouping, because you've got there 2 old, well-established universities and 2 new ones. And I think that led to some quite interesting exchanges and views being expressed from very different cultures, and that was really, I think, quite a learning experience for everybody. The actual projects that those institutions were involved in were very different in some ways, but they did share some common themes. Probably the most different one was eBiolabs from Bristol, because the project team was quite small, and they were actually producing a tool really in Moodle for a particular group of students, and that was highly successful and been adopted by a number of other programs in the university. Most of the others had something to do with assessment. So eReflect, for example, at Westminster, again it was a tool that was being developed, but it was to help students actually make better use of their feedback, to reflect on it. And a very interesting outcome from that project was they're identifying a complete difference in perception between staff and students on the nature and purpose of feedback, and that's kind of revolutionised their thinking, and they now have an institutionally based tool that they're hoping is going to be rolled out elsewhere in the institution. Hertfordshire was also concerned with assessment, but actually, rather than a product or a tool, was much more concerned with the process of curriculum change. And they worked with a number of staff individually and in small teams, I think very much building on their previous cable experience, of getting people to reflect on their practice and to think about ways in which different technologies would enhance and transform that practice. So they primarily worked with people rather than technology. And then Exeter's project, Integrate, which was really a bit of a potpourri at the beginning, a whole range of different technologies that had been in use in different parts of the business school. And there was a desire on the part of the school and the team to make more consistent use of those technologies and to add other technologies into the mix. And I think the particular problem they were trying to address was that of mass higher education in a traditional university, because they'd had such an increase in student numbers. And they primarily worked with teachers, actually helping them make effective use of technology that would aid them in working with large groups of students. And I think all of the projects brought something quite unique to the cluster. They brought their different institutional perspectives. They brought their own particular issues, the things they were trying to achieve, and I think one of the strengths of the cluster was how different they were in their thinking about learning and teaching, but actually how much they learned from each other by being open and honest and sharing their experience, including their failures. Not that the projects themselves fail, because they've all been highly successful, and they have led to considerable change in their institutions, and it's been really good working with them.